All right, mile 15, 3 aid stations down. Oh. Whoops. Good morning, fam. It's a great day. So, on October 6th, 2018, I ran my first 50-mile ultramarathon. This is fun. Last year, in fall of 2017, I ran the Chicago Marathon, and that was my first marathon since having a really bad back injury about 3 years ago. I had 3 herniated discs in my back. I couldn't bend over to tie my shoes. There were days where I could barely walk. And when I finished the Chicago Marathon, it was definitely a huge accomplishment, but I also knew that I had goals to go farther. And so eventually I ran my first 50-kilometer race, and then this past weekend was my first 50-mile race. With this race, there were really 2 things that stuck out in my preparation. One, I trained harder for this race than I have trained for any race in my entire life. Good morning, fam. It's a great day. It is 5:40 a.m. About to head out on a 20-miler. We're 5-6 weeks out from 50 miles. Beat the sunrise today, so. Rainy one today. Nothing like a long run before a road trip. We've got 90 minutes to run today. I am halfway through the 24-miler right now. You know, the thing about running a 50-mile race is you don't just have to be able to run 50 miles, but you actually have to run over 700 miles in training just to be at a place where you're able to run 50 miles. Good morning, fam. It's a great day. Here we are. Yeah, it's happening. Tomorrow, at long last. Buckets is here with me. Hey, Bucks. How are you? So much stuff needs to be done before this race. As of right now, I just left my house, and now I am headed to go pick up my crew. Another thing that I was sort of sad about leading up to it was the fact that Sweet Bear would not be there. She had a wedding that weekend that had already been previously booked. However, I did have my good friend Chris. There he is. How are you, Christopher?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You ready for a race?
I'm ready to sit down while you race.
Ready to crew it up?
I'm ready to crew it up for sure. Are you ready for a race?
We'll talk about that. And the second thing, and I've been telling people this a lot, this is the first race where I ever towed the starting line and had significant doubts that I would actually finish. I mean, 50 miles is a long way, and you're gonna be out there for, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 hours tops. And there's just a lot that can go wrong along the way. Your stomach can start bothering you.
I brought donuts. I don't know if you're gonna eat donuts right before your race, so
Probably.
Oh, you will?
You can get injured. All of a sudden this week, my 3 areas of injury started popping up again. So my 3 areas of injury are my back, my left hip, and my left foot. The weather can be terrible. I'm more nervous that there's gonna be like lightning and they're actually gonna have to call off the race. There's just so many factors that could go wrong that I had legitimate doubts about my ability to complete this race. So I was just sort of like a mess of nerves the day before. Hi there, here for packet pickup for the race? Awesome, thank you. Nice people. You ever been to Kelowna, Illinois before? You have now.
What distance are you doing?
15 miles.
Okay, what's your last name?
Jorgenson. Got my stuff ready to go. So they just removed all of my excuses for not finishing.
The race goes on no matter what.
They're not calling it because of weather.
If it was me and there was lightning, I would stop at an aid station and wait for the lightning to pass. But, we got a room full of adults. This is your decision.
And they're completely removing the time caps.
We won't stop the clock. We'll give you a time if you finish.
I guess I'm finishing. It's really happening now. The worst part of a race is waiting around for it to start.
Yeah.
Turn right on 27th Street.
No rain.
Alright. At least not yet.
Not yet. It'll happen. It'll happen. Okay, so we're here at the start. T-minus 10 minutes. Let's see, any last words? No.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling now?
There's equal emotions of I'm totally terrified, equal emotions of like I can't wait for it to be over, and equal emotions of but I'm really excited to spend a day out there, you know? But I knew as soon as I hit the starting line, as soon as I started running, things would just sort of click into place. I would get into a zone and I could just go. It's official. We started. Feels so good. About a quarter of a mile in. So the way that the course is made up is there are 10 aid stations, 10 places where you can stop, you can get some food, you can change your clothes, you see your crew, tend to injuries, all that stuff. About 6.5 miles in right now. I just passed the first aid station. One of the things that made the first half of the race a little bit more difficult though was because of some flooding and things like that, a lot of the aid stations were closed to crew. So one thing to keep in mind, I don't see my crew, aka Chris, until mile 15. The first half of the race, that's when you're feeling good. That's when you're in a good mental state. You don't necessarily need to stop every 4 to 7 miles and sit down and eat something and talk to somebody. And so the first, 15 to 20 miles really flew by. Okay, just past aid station 2 at mile 11. I feel like I just ran 11 miles. But I also knew that I had a long, long way to go. Gotta be patient, can't go too fast. What's up, my guy?
What's up?
John's in.
Here just the Gatorade.
What can I do for you while you're helping him? Can I hold your camera? I can hold this, that's fine. Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Good. Do you need anything else in the pack?
Yeah, I'm gonna take my handheld. How's your morning?
It's great. Great. Making some friends.
Yeah, super eventful.
Super
I'm sure.
eventful.
Sweet. And then I'm gonna give you this. Yeah. Good?
Yeah.
See you in a bit.
You're doing great.
Thanks so much. Thanks, you guys. But then right around mile 20, I started to have this knee pain. All right, I'm at mile 20 almost. Things have taken a bit of a turn. My knees, I feel great. Other than my knees just feel really weak. But I only got 3 more miles or so until I should see Chris, which means I can grab maybe some icy hot for it and hopefully get moving. And I have never had knee pain while running in my life. I know a lot of people struggle with their knees. I have had my fair share of injuries while running, but knee pain has never been one of them.
Just saw John at mile 23, looking a little worse for wear, and also just started raining a couple minutes ago. So I'll see him again in 10 miles at checkpoint 7. We'll see how he's doing then. Good luck, John.
And it wasn't until about 7 miles or so later, somewhere between mile 25 and 32, that I realized that my knee pain was slowly creeping up my legs until it got to my left hip. The same left hip where I was experiencing phantom pains from a previous injury. So my 3 areas of injury are my back, my left hip, my left hip. That hip actually blew up right in the middle of the race, right around the halfway point. And that was honestly the first big roadblock for me. But something that I did sort of as a strategy is I just found other people on the course that were going at a decent pace that I would want to go at, and I would just lock onto their tails, and I would just follow them for as long as I could until my hip hurt too much to run, and then I would walk, and when the next person passed me, I'd hook up onto their tail and I would get going. And so for a while I was doing this run, walk, just sort of when I felt like it. And as I was doing that, there was this group of guys that I kept passing, and then they would pass me. And I would pass them, and they would pass me. And so I sort of made a joke as I passed them. They said hi, and I said, oh, I'll probably see you in a minute. And sure enough, 2 minutes later, they passed me. And while they're doing it, I said, I told you I'd see you. And they said, well, you might as well just stick with us. And they were employing a strategy of 4-1, meaning you run for 4 minutes, walk for 1 minute. And so I just sort of followed their lead and ran with them pretty much all the way to mile 32. And at that point in the race, I was feeling pretty down. Like, I was really hurting. And those guys, they were so positive. They were running the 100-miler, so they were going to go twice the distance I was. And they had a strategy, and they were just sticking to it, and they were just trudging along. And I tell you, if it were not for those guys, I don't know if I would have finished the race. So you guys, whoever you are out there, thank you. Thank you so much. I rolled into aid station 7 at mile 32 in so much pain and really wondering how I might get through the next 18 miles.
So, kind of at a point right now where any sort of running that goes longer than about 5 to 10 minutes, my hip just like blows up.
But the way that I left aid station 7 at mile 32 versus the way that I arrived at aid station 8 at mile 38 could not have been more different. I left at mile 32 in pain, wondering if I would be able to make it through. And when I arrived at mile 38 to see Chris at aid station number 8, not but an hour later, I was like a new man. I had found a strategy, run 3 minutes, walk 2, and I was chugging along. I was passing people. I was moving really good. The sun was actually out. It was amazing. I felt so good. I felt maybe the best that I had felt the entire day.
Currently leaving aid station 8. I feel really good. I'm in very high spirits. Hopefully, the lows are totally done.
And I thought, I'm gonna be able to keep this pace the rest of the race. I'm gonna be done soon. And then mile 42 hit.
All right, so I'm at mile like 43. And probably about 5 minutes ago, my knee started hurting again. And it got worse and worse to the point where I like stopped and stretched it out and tried to fix it up. But now it's like, it's pain to the point where, like, as you can see, it's hard to walk. Like, every step is excruciating. I have to like keep my left leg totally straight. I don't know if you can see. I'm less than 7 miles from the freaking finish. And I was going along so well. And then my knee just blew up. Like, oh, this is so frustrating.
And that 6 minutes or 10 minutes, I don't even know how long I was walking like that. That was the hardest point of the race by far.
So right now the plan is to hobble my way to this next aid station, which I thought was supposed to be about half a mile back that way, but there was not one. And so just get my way to this next aid station, sit down and try and figure this out.
I try and make him well more. He's like, I'm walking.
Great, man.
How you doing?
About a mile plus back, my knee just like started hurting a little bit, and I was like, oh, that's strange. It hasn't hurt in a little while. And it got to the point where, like, I mean, you saw me limping up, like, every step. Yeah, gotta figure this out. Because I'm too close. And if I have to, like, limp my whole way there, that's fine. Okay. What do I need? Remember an hour ago when I was feeling so great? I thought, like, the low was done. Oh, well, I think I'm going to be walking. I think I'm going to be walking quite a bit.
All right, you ready?
No.
And if I'm honest, that knee pain didn't really go away the rest of the race. I was able to sort of find a new split for myself of half running, half walking, but it really ended up looking more like half walking, half doing this strange sort of hop hobble. But it really was. It was just a moment where I was like, I am going to grin and bear it, and I'm going to get to that freaking finish line.
I'm just going to finish it. Okay. I'm just going to go do the out and back. I'll talk to you later. Okay, I am like 2 miles from the finish. Mile 48. The last 6 miles have basically been with a limp, but that's okay. It's been a battle, and I'm not done yet, so I'm not gonna get emotional because I still got 2 more miles to go. But I can taste it now. I can feel it. So way to go, man. Woo! Welcome.
John,
Feel great.
When you're running something as big and as long as an ultra, it's gonna take time. It's not something you can just get over with quickly. And if you enter into it with that mindset of, I just can't wait to get this over with, you are gonna be suffering for a really, really long time. And so I realized early on in the race, I have a choice. I can either suffer for the next 10 hours, or I can be patient and I can choose to enjoy this. I can choose to enjoy the people that I meet along the way, and the beautiful nature around me, and the friend who has come to support me. I can choose to enjoy the high moments where I'm feeling great and I'm feeling healthy and I'm able to run. And I can even maybe choose to enjoy or appreciate, or maybe even just be patient in the low moments when it hurts and when I'm not sure if I can keep going. So that was my 50 miler. I want to thank everyone who put the race on, everyone who volunteered, the race directors, everybody. I want to thank all of my fellow runners. Thank you for encouraging me. I got to thank Sweet Bear for being the best support ever. Thank you to Chris for being such a good friend, so selfless, and giving up an entire weekend just to wait for me to show up and complain about how my body hurts. And thank you to all of you. So many of you reached out to me on Instagram or Twitter or whatever it was, and you cheered me on through the race. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this little recap video. And yeah, we'll see you at the next race. Keep being awesome.